You know that feeling when you finally throw out a drawer full of old receipts, tangled cords, and expired coupons? That weird rush of satisfaction that feels almost addictive? There's a reason for that. Decluttering isn't just about being neat, it's a psychological event. And for some people, it's not just satisfying, it's a craving. Let me explain. When you clear out physical clutter, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when you eat chocolate, get a text from someone you like, or win a game. Dopamine is your brain's reward system, and decluttering, it triggers it hard. That's why some people don't just tidy up, they hunt for things to throw away. They feel restless if their space gets too full. They're not obsessive, they're chasing a neurochemical high. But it goes deeper than that. Clutter isn't just messy, it's loud. Not literally, but mentally. Every object you own is a tiny decision your brain has to manage. That unopened mail, that jacket you haven't worn in 2 years, that box of cables you're definitely going to need someday. Each one whispers at your subconscious, "Deal with me." And your brain? It's listening. All the time. Psychologists call this cognitive load. It's the mental weight of unfinished tasks and unresolved decisions, and clutter is one of the most underestimated sources of it. Studies show that people who live in cluttered environments have higher cortisol levels, the stress hormone. Their brains are constantly working in the background, even when they're trying to relax. They feel more anxious, more distracted, more mentally drained, not because they're weak, but because their environment is silently exhausting them. So when someone declutters, they're not just organizing their space, they're clearing mental bandwidth. They're reducing the number of tiny decisions their brain has to juggle. And the result? A sense of calm that feels almost euphoric. That's not superficial, that's survival. Your nervous system is literally sighing in relief. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone feels this way. Some people can live surrounded by stuff and feel perfectly fine. But people who love decluttering, they're often wired differently. Research shows that people who enjoy decluttering tend to score high in traits like orderliness and conscientiousness. These are people who feel more comfortable when their environment reflects structure, when things are predictable, when they have control. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Because decluttering is one of the few areas of life where you have total control. You can't control your job, your relationships, or the world around you, but you can control whether that stack of magazines stays or goes. You can decide what belongs in your life and what doesn't. For some people, that sense of agency is deeply soothing. But, and this is crucial, not all decluttering is created equal. There are two types of people who love decluttering, and understanding which one you are changes everything. The first type? Let's call them the liberators. Liberators declutter because it genuinely makes them feel lighter, freer, more aligned with who they are now, not who they used to be. They understand that memories don't live in objects. They know that keeping something out of guilt or obligation doesn't honor it, it just weighs them down. So they let go, not impulsively, but intentionally. And when they do, they feel relief. Not because they're running from something, but because they're making space for something better. Liberators declutter with purpose. They're not chasing a feeling, they're creating one. But then there's the second type, the chasers. Chasers declutter for the rush. They love the dopamine hit so much that they start looking for it constantly. They throw things out, feel great for a day or two, then slowly start accumulating again. New clothes, new books, new gadgets, and then a few months later, they declutter again. It's a cycle, and it's not really about the stuff, it's about control. Chasers use decluttering as a coping mechanism. When life feels chaotic, they tighten their grip on their environment. They can't fix their relationships, their anxiety, or their career stress, but they can empty a closet. They can create the illusion of order, and for a moment, it works. But the chaos they're trying to escape, it's internal, and no amount of throwing things away will fix that. Here's the difference. Liberators feel calm after they declutter. Chasers feel empty. And that emptiness, it drives them to refill the space. Not because they're careless, but because the real issue was never the clutter. It was the need to feel in control of something, anything, in a world that feels overwhelming. So, which one are you? If you declutter and feel genuinely lighter, more peaceful, more like yourself, you're probably a liberator. You're using decluttering as a tool for clarity. And that's healthy. That's powerful. But if you find yourself decluttering over and over, only to refill the space again, if the high fades quickly and you're left feeling restless or unsatisfied, you might be a chaser. And that's not a judgment. It's an invitation to look deeper, to ask yourself, what am I really trying to control? What am I running from? Because here's the truth. Decluttering can be a release, or it can be a distraction. It can create space for growth, or it can become a way to avoid the real work, the internal work that needs to happen. And the only way to know the difference is to pay attention to how you feel afterward. Do you feel free, or do you feel the need to do it again? Your environment matters, but your inner world matters more. And sometimes the clutter that weighs you down the most isn't on your shelves. It's in your mind, in unprocessed emotions, in patterns you haven't named yet, in beliefs you've outgrown but never questioned. That's the clutter that really needs clearing. So yes, declutter your space, let go of what no longer serves you, create an environment that supports your nervous system, not drains it. But don't stop there. Check in with yourself. Notice the patterns. Notice what you're holding on to emotionally, not just physically. Because the people who feel the most peace aren't the ones with the emptiest homes. They're the ones who've learned to let go on the inside, too. If this resonated with you, drop a comment. Tell me, are you a liberator or a chaser? Or maybe you're figuring it out as you go. Either way, you're not alone. And if you want more psychology that actually makes sense of why you are the way you are, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. You're not broken, you're just wired differently. And that's exactly what we talk about here.